I haven't spoken to Diane since yesterday, but you know, it goes back to this business of getting on with people. I've got a lot of respect for Diane Abbott. She's been through a lot in her political life. Of course, there are lots of areas where I don't agree with Diane politically. We don't sit in the same part of the Labour Party politically. When she made these statements, it was shortly, during the last election, I was a bit alarmed, and I did a lot of work to, she apologised, the suspension was lifted. So I was a bit surprised yesterday when she sort of rode back on the apology that she gave at the time. So yes, but I haven't been in Westminster today, I've been in the constituency, so I don't know what the feeling is on the Labour benches. But I think it's unfortunate that it's unfortunate that this has happened, and we've gone back to an old story that I thought had been cleared up.
Thanks, Roger. I was going to ask it, but Shan Barcroft is our first question. Shan, give us away wherever you are. Hi, Shan. So Shan's question is, I just want to ask David about how having such a public demanding role, he balances public and private life, and what his children make of him being Foreign Secretary. Do they think anything of that? What children are like?
I always think that's a question that they should be able to answer it. I mean, when I took my son to university, and I took my second son to an open day recently, I wear a mask, I wear a hat, I allow them to be anonymous on campus. They don't want people to know who their dad is particularly. So I think it's important that they're able to grow up being who they want to be, particularly as teenagers, because it can be quite brutal and quite nasty out there, to be honest. People forget that you've got kids and they forget a human being behind all this. But I think because they've grown up in London, they're also quite hardy in their own way. So I think I was out with them for a meal this week with the whole family. My boys are not, they take the mickey out of me in many ways. They're certainly not in awe of their dad. And they also know, by the way, that I'm not as sporty as my boys are. I wish I was, but I'm not.
So you weren't the one trying to beat them at cricket when they were growing up?
I wish I was a much better sportsman than I am. I wanted them to be good at sports, so I took them to sports. And my daughter, I'm just her dad. Thank you for the question.
Well, the second part to Shan's question is, does Westminster look after its MPs? Do you have access to health support, counselling, screening, mentoring, pastoral care, that sort of thing? Is there a support system in place for MPs? Sam doesn't need it, it's too young.
It's got better than it was when I started. It's not as good. I think it's still a work in progress. Yeah, I mean,
I'm sensitive now.
Look, the thing is, as a member of Parliament, you're a bit of a sole trader. Yes, you're in a political party, but it's slightly down to you what you make of the political arena. And there are different kinds of MPs. There are some MPs who spend a lot of time in their constituency. They want to be constituency MPs. They care about almost the social work side of the job. There are others who all they want to be is a minister. There are lots of different component parts. Obviously, if you represent a seat and the majority is 39, you've got to pound the streets of the lot you're doing in the constituency. So it's different for different people, but the pastoral side of the job, the stresses that come with the job, the issues that come with it, the compromises that are required in politics, and then at the modern times that we're in, the nature of the social media side of it as well is vast and challenging, and I do think there's not enough support. And on the serious end of that, obviously in recent years we've had MPs' lives be taken in our democracy, which is absolutely unbelievable. We've never had 25 years ago when I started. So in the way that we've seen, of course there are MPs and IRA and terrorism and things, but it's so there's a serious side to that we should be vigilant and worried about if we care about democracy.
In a way, that sort of brings me on to my next question, really, is when you're there and part of it, is it easy to forget why you're there? Do people do that? Can you get so wrapped up in it that you forget about everyday life for normal people? Because there is a cost of living crisis going on, people are struggling.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I'm not with that cynicism. I think that, there are a couple of shysters. There are a few. But on the whole, the members of Parliament I meet are really on top of and in tune with their constituencies. They understand. We all sit and do a surgery. How can you be immune to people's problems if you're sitting doing a surgery, as I was today? You know the issues, you know the hardships. You may not be experiencing them on a personal level yourself, but you know the hardships that are there. You know the issues that matter to your constituents. You see the Castor.
Even in Clapton?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment.
No.
So no, I want to give MPs a fairer rap than sometimes they give us.
So a question from Jane Hogg, former languages teacher at King's School, Peterborough. Jane, where are you? Hello, Jane. Was he a naughty boy? No? Are you sure? Do you use any of the languages you learn at school nowadays?
Well, I was sitting with the leader of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and it was a very serious meeting because you might know that there'd been a sort of war really with Rwanda next door, and I'd gone to speak to the leader of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, President Tshisekedi, and then on to Rwanda to speak to President Kagame. And the Congolese leader spoke entirely in French. He had some translation, but the translator there was a problem. And I did find that I was understanding quite a lot of what he was saying. I'm not confident enough, really, to hold my own with French, but bless all those wonderful years.
Susan Saunders Jorgensen.
Good pronunciation. Thank you.
We've covered this a bit, but how did your time at King's School contribute to your ambitions?
Well, so I think the thing is, I sort of think excellence is infectious, and I feel very lucky, in a way, fortunate, both as a chorister at a school that is preeminent in the community in which it is, and nationally, just helps lift your shoulders and gives you a certain kind of confidence. And I was reminded by a former teacher about Chaucer. Now, my recollection of Chaucer is, getting through my GCSEs, doing better than I was predicted. I was underestimated. actually then sitting in the first English A-level class and being confronted with Chaucer and literally tears running down my eyes. What the hell have I done? It was just gobbledygook. And everyone else in the class seemed to understand it. But even, you persevere. I still don't like Chaucer to this day. It still plays out like my prickles. Over my hair, but yeah, so I do think this business of, it's important to, if you can, to expose young people, whatever their skills, whatever their backgrounds. They can't all go to the best school in the town or the city or the village, but if they can touch excellence, what they're, perseverance, what they're good at, find what they're good at, that's infectious.
And you mentioned, I think, about stretching as well.
Yes.
You can do more than
Yes. And also, the other thing is, which I see with my own children, but certainly was the case with me, some young people arrive at school at 11 and they're top of the class and they're very bright. Some young people come into their own at 16, others come into their own at 18, some come into their own at university. It's different for, that's the other thing. And I don't think by the time I left the school, I was in a slightly different place to where I'd arrived.
Party politics now, from David Walker. David Walker, are you around? This could be a contentious question, so I just want to get you ready. You're a Spurs fan. He is an Arsenal fan.
Yes.
Any trouble there?
Well, so
good question, David.
we always, in the last few years, we've gone to the North London derby together. He comes to Spurs. I don't go to Arsenal, but he comes to Spurs. And 1 year, 2 years ago, we absolutely trounced Arsenal. And it was quite hard, because it's quite hard to swear and cheer and behave very badly to your boss. And probably badly advised. So I'm not, but we did go to the North London derby together, and he is genuinely, he plays football to this day, and he is in a particularly good mood on a Monday if he has managed to play. He's got a group of friends that he's played Sunday league with for years, and I know that he enjoys anonymously on a Sunday morning managing to play with that group of friends. He's obviously unable to do it most Sundays, but I think every 6 weeks.
What is he, centre half? Right back?
I think he fancies himself as a midfielder. And he's pretty aggressive.
What, sort of Butch Wilkins? Or?
I think that's enough.
I've gone too far. Couple more questions, and we'll let you've got to catch a train. As you say, you're going to America tomorrow. This is a question about Castor, actually, because there are plans to build houses around it. Martin Chilcott, Chilly, to his friends. He hasn't got any. If a village is made to grow by 600%, is it okay to be a NIMBY?
I don't know the local circumstances here. Obviously, I know that we have a housing crisis. And I'm sure that Sam is doing his best to take up the issues, and there's always a balance to be struck. But we do need homes for our young people. We have got a housing crisis. But also, clearly, having known this area for most of my life, one of the challenges in the country is is ensuring that we don't unnecessarily change the character of places that we love. So there's a balance that's always got to be strong.
I'm going to end with a couple of quick fire questions.
Sure.
From me, actually. It's yes or no.
Oh, I hate yes.
No.
All right, I'll try.
All right, so Spurs need a striker, right? Agree?
Yes.
And Burma or Whistle?
Burma.
Okay. Star or Blair?
Oh, God forget. Stop. He's my boss.
Trump or Obama?
Pass. I have to work.
Peterborough or Tottenham?
Do you know what? I think if Spurs are playing the posh, I'd be rooting for the posh because they're the
I think I remember a night with Matthew Etherington playing Spurs when we did pretty well.
Yeah. No, I'd be rooting for the posh, I think. I'd enjoy that.
Well, that's a great way to finish.
Yeah.
David, thank you so much for coming down. Ladies and gentlemen, David Lammy. But thank you, David. Thank you very much for just being so open. Really, I think you'll all agree. Very open, very likely as well. But events like this don't just happen. They take time and teamwork. A big thank you to Stuart Francis, who can't be here tonight. She's not very well. This was his idea. His wife Pam and his daughter on the front row here tonight. And we wish Stuart all the best from all of us here. Hopefully, he gets better soon and makes a full recovery. Sponsorship from Assets, who kindly provided a welcome drink tonight. Thank you for Assets' generous support. Thank you very much. Huge thank you to Joe Morris, our ever-patient benefits administrator, for managing tickets, updates and logistics with that usual calm efficiency, apparently. And thanks to James and his team for running the bar, Jan and the Village Social Committee for all the canapes, David, Julie and Simon for tickets and seating, and thank you to Dave Edwards and Ian Sheldon for staging, screens, video and lighting, a big job which made a great difference. So thank you all. We're going to let David go because he has to catch that train, but he has signed a bottle of Commons whiskey, which we're going to auction off in just a moment or two. But for now, thank you to David Lammy.